Thank you for coming in today. What's your name?
My name is Lauren Monroe.
Nice to have you here. Can you tell me about yourself?
Well, I have a lot of experience in various different disciplines. I am very self-motivated. I love to work with people, but I'm also an independent worker. I have excellent leadership skills. I handle myself modestly and approachable when working with others. I love to glean ideas from people, but I also like to share my own ideas with individuals. And I think those are qualities that would make an excellent candidate for the position that you're looking for. So this is why I applied for this position, and I thank you for the opportunity to be able to share that with you.
Okay. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about your past work experience?
Well, I have worked in several different business industries, most specifically focused on the wine industry, although I have had a background running an office and running a business all on my own, a retail-based business. It was a vacuum and sewing shop where the responsibilities included customer sales, customer service, office management, which was accounts receivable, accounts payable, bookkeeping. I was also the one who originated and secured SBA financing for the company. I set up all of our vendors. I set up the necessary requirements to be able to process and handle credit cards. I was able to train myself in QuickBooks Pro and QuickBooks POS, point of sale program that we used, as well as becoming very proficient in all aspects of Microsoft Office. From that point, my work experience changed focus into the wine industry, where I originally started as working in wine and cheese sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's really where I cultivated my interest in knowing more about wine. That job included doing ordering. It included marketing and setting up of displays, preparing and handling wine tastings, and reaching out to customer service, customer assistance, particularly in choosing of wines. So my most current position that I'm in has a lot more expansive use of my wine knowledge as well as my office skills. Working at a New Hampshire State liquor store as an assistant manager. I have oversight of 4 other employees. I assign their work. We work well as a team to get various projects done, including things like inventory, marketing, building displays, and all-around customer service. With my certification as a wine specialist, I'm the person that gets mostly asked the questions on wine and helping customers make wine selections. I've also assisted restaurants with setting up their wine menus for pairings with their dinners. And I've also had the opportunity to work with individuals setting up purchasing for their wedding, their wine and spirits list for their wedding to make sure they have the right choices of wines and an adequate quantity for their guests. Plus the day-to-day responsibilities that come with running a store, sales reports, various data entry responsibilities, cashiering, receiving loads, originating shipments, and those types of things that come with the retail experience that I have.
Excellent. You have a lot of good work experience. I was happy to hear you mention teamwork. Could you give me an example of a time when you worked well with a team? Because we do a lot of that here.
Okay. Well, boy, there's a lot of different experiences I could draw on, but I think the one experience that stands out in my mind is when it is necessary to accomplish inventory, which is done on a quarterly basis at the liquor store. And the difficulty with that is it often means there's a lot of different facets of it besides preparing for inventory ahead of time, the store remains open. So you have to continue with the day-to-day activities. And that can be a challenge. So when it comes to approaching inventory, the plan is to organize all of the employees that are working on the inventory, which will be about 6, to have certain sections that they work on. We have to do 2 complete counts. And so that means there's 2 teams. And one team will complete all of the wines, and the other team will complete all of the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And then on a second count, the same thing will happen again. So in order to get that done efficiently and accurately, that means everybody has to work well together. And we've managed to do this in such an organized pattern that it's a kind of an enjoyable event, if you can imagine inventory being enjoyable
Wow.
at all, because everybody works well together. It's an all-day event. It's a 12-hour, sometimes 14-hour day,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have to go back and make sure that everything that was entered correctly before it is submitted. The full counts, 2 counts are submitted to Concord. So, there's a great satisfaction in being able to complete the task. Everybody's, enjoyed working together, and then getting the report back that there was very few errors to be corrected.
Nice.
So that's the biggest teamwork event that happens, and it happens on a regular basis. So
That's good to hear. Now, why don't you tell me about a time when you've had too many things to do and so had to prioritize your tasks?
once again, when you're working in a busy store, there's a lot of opportunities for that. However, some of the trickier times is to deal with a lot happening is when you have call-outs, when people call out sick. And if you work in close quarters, it seems like everybody gets sick at once. And I've had a particular day that comes to mind where everything seemed to happen all at once. It was a day we had a large order coming in for receiving. We had a couple of additional UPS shipments coming, and I had a supervisor coming in to do a store inspection. So that's a lot to handle. But I think the biggest thing that helps me to work on prioritizing the tasks is assessing people, time, and the process of the function. For example, you have to get A done before you can accomplish B, because the result of A is something you have to accomplish B. So, and then figuring out, okay, which things can be done in between other projects, which things can be done after projects, which things can just be put on the back of the burner. So, customer service is number 1. You always want to take care of your customers first. But if the truck is there, you have to take care of the truck because you can't wait all day. So I did have a part-timer assist me with the truck. So while in between waiting on customers, I was able to go back and assist with unloading the truck. And then, of course, receiving the items and entering it into the computer came a little bit later. When the inspection came for the supervisor, he was able to observe all of that going on, and I was still able to answer the questions and provide the information, the paperwork that he needed to complete his task. So, and the biggest thing you have to do is remain calm and remain focused, and don't take yourself too seriously. So that day, ended with most everything got accomplished that day. I kind of surprised myself, but staying focused, staying on task, and keeping that priority of people, time-oriented and project-oriented things in order made it possible to accomplish a busy day like that.
Okay. All right. Now, why don't you tell me a time when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty? Because that happens. How did you handle a situation like that?
Well, there's always customer service situations that require attention, but I think when I think of going above and beyond the call of duty, I have to say it was in dealing with an employee, a part-time employee that I have oversight of, that I had to take the time with her. She's a good employee. She's a hard-working employee, but she has some health issues and some other issues that were making her less effective and causing her to do a lot of calling in. And I thought if I took a little bit of time with her, we could probably not only save her position but make her a better employee. So it meant that after I was on my day off and she had texted me instead of whoever was on to say she wasn't going to come in. So I texted back asking how she was. It ended up being an hour conversation with her where she got to tell me everything that she was dealing with and the stresses. You know, I gave her some positive encouragement, some reinforcement. She did have to face some discipline, and I encouraged her through that as well. I said, you know, she's young. I said, you know, we're going to face these challenges. You know, yes, it's easy to just say, okay, I quit. I can't deal with the pressure. I said, but you'll thank yourself later if you work through it. You know, if you take the stress and you try to learn from it and you improve, you're going to look back on this time someday in your career in the future and say, I'm glad I made it through that. I'm glad I stuck it out. And so the result is, she's a much more committed employee than she was. She's committed because she felt validated and appreciated and understood for the situations that she had to deal with. I really feel that valuing your coworkers, particularly your subordinates, and what they do and making them feel appreciated is so important because that affects the team. And sometimes you need to do that for them rather than just write them off. So
Yeah.
very, very rewarding for me personally because I can see that she's a happier person.
It's a good story. You know, we'd like to say everything goes smoothly here, but at times it doesn't happen. So can you tell me about a time when you've worked effectively under pressure? You know, we have deadlines sometimes.
Yeah, deadlines, yes. When there's, you know, when there's a busy time, there's a lot of pressure. And usually summer, and again, I'm you know referencing this one position, but there's other opportunities that I've had in previous positions to work under pressure, but they're always related to working in this area in the summer. The population more than doubles, it pretty much triples, maybe even better than that, throughout the summer. So everything that you've been accustomed to doing, you now have to do it about 3 times faster. And your list of things you need to get accomplished gets longer. And the amount of things of each individual thing is bigger. So if certain amounts of restocking had to take place on the shelf, you knew you had to do it. Well, by the end of the day, you have a lot more of that to do. So you have to keep a sense of humor. You have to keep a relaxed mind and recognize that you know, if you stay focused and you don't get stressed, you're going to get more accomplished. You may not get everything accomplished, but then again, what you didn't get accomplished, you know, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. So, you know, some things may have to take a back seat until the next day, and so long as you get the priorities straight, and you know, just keep a positive attitude, then you can get through the pressure. A negative attitude will only make the pressure worse, and you'll be less productive. So that's what I've experienced in dealing with pressure as I've learned along the way. And that's helped me. Many times I got more than I thought I was going to get done as a result.
Okay, nice. Can you give me an example of a time when you showed initiative?
I think in learning things has been where I take the initiative the most. I'm a person who always strives to learn something. If there's something that I have a curiosity about, for example, wine, it started as a curiosity in one of my previous positions. And I took the initiative to learn as much as I could. I'm doing wine tastings, I should know a little bit about wine. So the first thing I did, even though it wasn't required, is I went to the library and I took out every single book that they had on wine. And I read it cover to cover. And I had a notebook and I took notes. And I'd bring the notes with me at work and I'd review them so that I would have more information. But my thirst continued. I had to know more. So I was motivated by that desire. Again, it wasn't required for the position I have had previously, nor the one that I have currently to get my certification as a wine specialist. But I needed to know. I needed to be able to know. So I think those are times when I take initiative. If it's something that I feel like I need to learn, if it will benefit me, I'm motivated to do that. And part of that has been continuing my education through the College for America program, through Southern New Hampshire University. One that was introduced as an option through my workplace. The very same month that it was offered was the same month that I applied. I mean, it was like 3 days later I applied for it, and now I'm enrolled in it, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly. And so the result is now I have more talents to offer by taking initiative.
Okay. Well, now, is there anything else that you would like us to know about you?
I'm a person who likes to grow. And you can take a look at my resume, and it gives you the work history, and it gives you, explanation. But it doesn't tell you about a person's character. And the character of an individual is shown by the way they work with others, the way they lead, and the way they're willing to continue to grow. I lead by the examples that I've seen, good examples and bad examples. And I think the most important quality for being an excellent leader is humility. You cannot know everything that goes on in your oversight. You're just a human. But if you show humility and you're an approachable person, the people that you're overseeing will tell you what's going on. And having learned that quality, I think, helps improve the entire workplace and the effectiveness of all the employees involved. The point of growing is always being able to learn something new from anybody. Everybody is rich with experiences and knowledge that I have not come across for different reasons, different backgrounds, different, lives, lifestyles, travel experiences. And you can always learn something from somebody else. And if you're willing to do that, you're personally enriched. And again, your skill set continues to grow, and you work well as a team because you're always showing personal interest in others. So that's what I think is important for me to share that I couldn't share on a piece of paper.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much, Lori, and I appreciate your time and consideration for this position.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.